The 723rd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMASGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're brought to you by Rebet, a new sportsbook available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. And next, we're brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. And finally, we're brought to you by the SGPN College Football Playoff Challenge. Free to enter in a $1,000 grand prize. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP to enter today.
Heidi ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 723 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Boss Tang 3355, who thanked Gumby for his Kirk Cousins pick. So Gumby jinxed the NFL quarterback Kirk Cousins, and now he does.
I said he was going to be not good, and then he was not good.
Now he's not even a starter, thanks to you.
That's me.
There you go. That's Gumby Vreeland, aka the guy on the left. I am the guy on the right, Mr. What am I, Mr. $594.75, something like that. Jeff Fox. I don't know if that name's going to stick. That's kind of hard to remember.
Yeah, you can't keep doing it if you keep forgetting it. It's like It's like that Bernie Mac movie, Mr. 3000. Did you ever watch that?
I know of it. I didn't watch it. No.
You didn't see Mr. It's pretty good.
I don't know. That's not that surprising. Come on. It's not like that's
I have to say, I have no idea if that movie holds up. You know, when you like go back and you watch a movie and you're like, oh, I did like that when I was 14. I remember liking that movie, and Bernie Mac kind of rules. Yeah, that one. Then he becomes Mr. 2,999 at the end.
Oh, okay,
Revoke one of his hits or whatever.
Yep.
That's less catchy, and yours is also not catchy as well.
Well, you're just jealous because you'd be Mr. Negative 1,000 and something. So
how about we use my regional picks and I could be like
I hear they're really bad. I hear they're bad. I hear you went with like 9 underdogs when you went with like
2,
1 even money dog, and anyhow, it's not regional. Today it is UFC men's UFC bantamweight futures. Yesterday we covered the flyweights. Episode before covered all the women's divisions. Now we're going to dig deep, and I think the deepest in the division actually with the most fighters as well.
Is it the deepest when it comes to futures though? Because
no, maybe not.
You said the deepest and like the most fun on the last episode, but like I think with flyweights, and definitely go back and listen to our flyweights episode. Like the deep picks that we had on that one were kind of more interesting because like you could draw a path for like, you know, there is candidly a 500-1 pick on there that we think there's like a halfway reasonable path to getting a title shot. And like, I don't think you can do that at bantamweight because like the top is a little crowded. And we already know who's getting the first title shot, which also complicates things. And it's going to throw off my first pick that we're going to talk about at some point in time. That title shot. So yeah, I mean, kind of interesting, but interesting in a different way.
Yep. It is very true. We'll actually get into it. We'll see. We surprised each other yesterday with some of our picks and talking to each other into stuff. As you probably heard off the top, if you didn't skip Gumby's talking at the top, SGPN is running its first annual College Football Playoff Challenge. Pick sides and totals for every game with a chance to win a $1,000 grand prize. Free to enter. Just go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/CFP. All right, bantamweights. Of course, the current champion is a man known as Islam Makhachev. It's not. That's way up. It's a man known as Merab Dvalishvili. He's had the belt for 95 days as of 96 days since the time you heard this. He took it away from Sean O'Malley, who had it entering the year. O'Malley had it since 2023 is when he won it. Actually, it's right. All right. Who do we have heading into here? I had Dvalishvili. Hey, I had Dvalishvili. I hit it. Woohoo! Plus 375. That's a big hit for me. You had O'Malley plus 275. So I just hit 2.
I really thought he was going to beat Merab.
I'm beating you at this game. That's fantastic. I had flyweight and bantamweight. Boom. You had women's strawweight, but that was like a chalky one. And
flyweight.
And flyweight. So yeah, not too shabby at all. So we both hit that. And of course, the current champ still is Merab Dvalishvili since the year is not over. But the fights are. Now, as Gumby said up top, we do have quite a few meaningful fights scheduled already. Said Nurmagomedov is fighting Vinicius Oliveira, UFC Fight Night. Riyadh.
Why didn't you use his legal name?
Lock Dog, sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, yes. Merab Dvalishvili's first title defense. They're throwing him in the fire right away against Umar Nurmagomedov. That is at UFC 311. So that is February's event, or is that January?
No,
February.
that's January. That's January.
Yeah.
That's the next event. That's January 18th. So January 11th is an Apex event during versus Hebas, and then immediately after that, the week following is that pay-per-view.
Yeah, Muan Gaffarov versus Rinya Nakamura. Nakamura, he's the Olympic wrestler one. I was getting confused of, right? Yeah. Correct. Okay.
Not right.
Anything else interesting? Peyton Talbot, Raoni Barcelos. That's interesting. Umar is getting the belt. Ricky Tercios, we don't care. That's it.
He's fighting Bernardo Sopai, right?
Yeah.
That's a sick fight.
Yeah, interesting. But
we broke it down once already this year.
Not title contention worthy at this point. Something I should have done with other divisions, I'll do now. Youngest fighter in the division, Rilo Rosas Jr. is 20. Oldest fighter in the division is
Raoni Barcelos.
Let me see if Gumby's right. Hani Yaya, who's 40.
Oh, yeah.
Douglas Silva, Andrade, 39. Davey Grant, 39. So, yeah, quite a few old heads here that are still winning fights. Davey Grant won his last fight. Jose Aldo didn't win his fight, but he still looks good at 38. So, yeah. We got old, we got young, we got in the middle. This is a massive division, like 75 fighters around that range. And Gumby, I guess now's the time where you give the people the odds. Do you have the odds in front of you there?
Sure. Let me just get the little bumper on the bottom that says odds. Enjoy that while you're looking. So, I'm going to read the odds for you off the Bantamweight division. The favorite right now is not the champion. The favorite, Umar Nurmagomedov, plus 110. Right next to him, Merab Dvalishvili, plus 130. You got Sean O'Malley following that, plus 600. Piotr Jan just outside of that, plus 650. Corey Sandhagen, sort of hanging on in the same vein as O'Malley and Jan, plus 700. Then we get a big leap. You got Davison Figueiredo, 15-1, Sogudong 22-1, and then Marlon Chito Vera 40-1. And after that, we're getting into some of the long shots, which you might hear us talk about a little bit later on. So that is the cream of the bantamweight crop. And as I said, kind of crowded towards the top there. So once again, I'm going to put Jeff on the spot. Because
always me first.
That's my new thing. That's because you can get swayed too easily. So when you say something convincing, I laugh at it and give you props.
Yes,
when I say something convincing, sometimes you change your pick. So I don't want that to happen.
All right.
Instead, we're gonna turn it over to you. You got $100. You got to put it on somebody. Who you putting it on?
Apparently, I'm good at this. Apparently, cousin Umar is plus 100. Eh? So he's minus 260 for that fight as well. So. Probably better just if you think Umar is going to win that fight, you probably should just take him at plus 100 to be the plus 110, unless you think there's someone else in this division that's going to beat him this year. Who am I taking here? Is Umar really that much better than Merab? Guess he's more well-rounded. I guess I think cousin Umar is going to be champ at the end of the year. So I'm not betting. I wouldn't bet. I wouldn't tie my money up for a plus 100 play for a full year, but having to pick a winner, I guess it would be Umar.
I'm going to say this. So I do think Umar is going to lose to Merab Dvalishvili. I think I saw enough holes in his grappling against Corey Sandhagen that made me be like,
can't have holes against Merab.
Yeah. And like there were moments where he like took Corey Sandhagen's back, but like also was in like kind of a weird bottom position at the same time. You know, it was like, it gave me enough questions that like, is Merab just going to power out of that and be in a better position? But with that being said, you know, you sort of mentioned it with the fight odds. You can't bet Merab here. There's literally no reason to bet Merab Dvalishvili in this spot. Because the only like his odds to beat Umar are plus 220.
Yep.
So like unless you think he's going to lose to Umar and then win a rematch, which by the way, I've got news for you. The second he loses a title fight, Dana is never going to give him one again because he's like fighting audience members and, you know, headbutting ice. And
he's Aljamain's friend.
And he's Aljamain's friend. Yeah. So like Dana's not giving him another title shot. So for me, I'm not going to pick Umar because I think those odds are long for a guy who you think might lose his next fight. I'm not going to pick Merab. So if you're going to ask me to go down ballot here and kind of have to pick a guy with a little bit longer odds, how about Piotr Jan at 6.5 to 1?
I was going to mention him. Yep, for sure.
I mean, he looked so incredible in that fight with Davison Figueiredo. And like, I know people are going to point, but like, yeah, well, he had a 3-fight losing streak. The 3-fight losing streak was weird. In the Aljamain Sterling fight, first of all, that was a weird one because he had just come off the weird DQ, and I think that kind of psyched him out of that fight. Yeah. I think he beat Sean O'Malley. Candidly, I think he pretty clearly beat Sean O'Malley in their fight. The judges scored it a different way, and then you take the Merab fight, and that one was like kind of a weird fight for him against the up and comer. But since then, he's looked sensational. His last 2 fights, he's looked really good. Hand speed is back where it ought to be. He put a beating on Davison Figueiredo, which looked like it wasn't, very much of a sure thing. And we're probably talking about him being 1 fight away from a title shot, right? Like, that fight, people were already talking about Davison getting a title shot. They might run Piotr Jan versus Sean O'Malley too. And let the winner take those guys. I could see him fighting. I mean, he beat Song Yadong and Davison, right? And those are kind of like the next guys. So like outside of a fight with Sean O'Malley again, and Sean O'Malley doesn't seem like he's warranted a title shot. I kind of like Piotr Jan to get the next title shot or be kind of close to it. And at 6.5 to 1, let's take the former champ.
Yeah, I definitely like that as a bigger. Well, that's not that big really. Plus 650, so it won't count for my big one. But yeah, I think the issues with him seem to be mental, and he seems to have gotten over it. Like you said, he seemed to be thrown off by losing his belt the way he did, and then losing to Aljamain again. And he seemed to kind of send him on a free fall. And this is the guy who's always seems to be so confident and fearless in the cage, but that seems to be coming back now.
Can I throw out an odd that I thought was absolutely insane before we get into any of the fun stuff or our first set of ad reads or whatever we're going to next? I was looking at these odds and they always baffle me a little bit. I think we talked on last show about this guy's not in the UFC. Why are odds even listed for him? I think Lucy Pudilova, who's fighting for an Octagon belt on December 29th, she was listed.
She's not leaving.
She's not leaving that promotion. So there are always weird ones. This one is in the organization and it's weird for me.
Yeah.
Would you expect to see Peyton Talbot as high as he is on this list?
I'm interested in that one for sure.
He's 65 to, but he's fighting Raoni Barcelos next. That's not. That might not even get him ranked, right? I get the allure of him, right? He's fun. He's got that Sean O'Malley vibe about him. Mm-hmm. He's clearly somebody the UFC's interested in. But in 2025,
it's going to be.
Man, it feels so much longer than 6. I mean, it's kind of the same as when we talked about Josh Van in the last episode. It's if you gave me 60 to 1 that he'd be champ one day, sign me up. You give me 60 to 1 that he'd be champ in the next 3 years. Yeah, I'd sign me up for that. Give me 12 months and with a fight booked with a guy who's unranked and kind of old and kind of set up for him to win a fight. I don't know. It's sort of shocking to me that he's as low as he is because there are some names after that I actually find intriguing, and he's not one of them.
Yeah, the path to the title is probably going to take him more than a year. Yeah. He's only 26, so they probably won't feel any rush to.
That's why he's fighting Raoni Barcelos. Is that they don't need him up there yet.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you said off the top. This is a tough one to find interesting long shots on, unless maybe Gumby has some. Who's to say? Maybe he has some. After I give you a read. Speaking of long shots and underdogs, Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all sports. You can win up to 1,000 times your money, your entry with Underdog streaks. Underdog is always making it easier to win with profit boosts and gimme pick'ems. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. You can now use special and boost on all your flexed entries. Gummy's going to give you a play right about now.
Sure. Let's go to the hard court. We got action on Thursday after an off day on Wednesday. Brooklyn traveling to the north to play the Toronto Raptors. And you know who I'm taking on the Toronto Raptors? Who am I taking on the Toronto Raptors, Jeff?
Gumby's taking the dick. All of Grady Dick.
Grady Dick. We're gonna take the higher than on his points. He's coming off of 3 of his last 4 games. He's put up 22 or better. Twice put up 27 in that time. Let's ride the hot hand. Grady Dick without Scotty Barnes in the lineup. How can you not be in on Dick?
Scotty hurt his ankle or something, right?
Yeah, he's done until the end of December, I think.
Man, just nonstop injuries. Well, it's a good year to not be good again, Raptors, with the draft that's coming up.
But Grady Dick's there.
Yeah, they got Grady Dick to carry them until then. Sign up with our promo code on Underdog Fantasy, MMA SGPN, to claim your special pick and first sign deposit. Offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. It's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sportsbook available in 45 states. There are plenty of betting opportunities available on Rebet. It's easy to use and great for people in states where traditional sportsbooks may be restricted. Download Rebet in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. All right. So we gave you our locks, I guess you would say, right? Now,
yeah, those are our best. What's this called? Best bets.
Yeah. Now we got to go to the mid ones. You pick a mid one first, Gumby. Do you see any of these people actually like? It's all about path to title shot.
So
I don't see it for anyone here.
So for me, there's only one. That's even reasonable to talk about, even reasonable to bring up, and it's longer odds than Peyton Talbot, believe it or not. But that name is Mario Batista. If you're looking for like a middling level one, the one you want to throw a little bit of pizza money on, 75-1 right now on Mario Batista. And like, let's talk about his last. I mean, I don't know how many fights do you want to go back. 5. Beat Jose Aldo, beat Ricky Simone, beat Damon Blackshear, beat Guido Canetti, beat Benito Lopez. Picked up 2 finishes in there. Now if we want to scoot, I don't know where he is in the rankings actually. If we scoot on over to the rankings, Bantamweight right now, he's top 10. We can get a top 10 guy who's coming off a win over the former champ at 75-1. You're looking for some like little fun, dip my toes into it. Like Mario Batista is that guy. Yeah. If you want to go the real crazy stuff, which we can talk about the 250s and the 400s and all those kinds of things. But like in terms of like one that there's a reasonable path to, that you're not just literally buying a lottery ticket that you'll probably crinkle up and throw away. Mario Batista, I mean, like 2 fights and maybe he fights a champ in December. I can see it, right? Like it depends on what they book him with next. But like it's not unreasonable for him to fight Song Yadong next. It's not unreasonable for him to fight Cheeto next, right? Yep. Except, like that level of fighter is like probably what's next for him. So yeah, 75-1.
But realistically, who's gonna fight for the belt this year? Umar and then who? And that's probably. I mean,
Umar, right? Piotr Jan, probably second, or Sean O'Malley, one of those 2. Maybe one more. It depends on like if you don't make Piotr Jan fight before he fights Merab or before he fights Umar. Like let's say Merab goes out and he hits 800 double leg takedowns and winds up winning that fight. The UFC likes to try to force his hand to fight quickly. Yeah. Okay, let's give him till late April, early May. He fights Piotr Jan early May. Piotr Jan takes the belt off of him. Now we don't have to worry about Merab fighting 3 times in a year. We just have to worry about Piotr fighting twice. If Mario Batista's lined up all the ducks correctly and you're telling me he could get it at the end of the year, 75-1, I know I'm obviously painting a particular picture, but again, we're talking about 75-1 odds. We're not talking about something that's highly likely. We're just looking for something that seems sort of feasible on this list.
I don't see anything that's feasible. That's the problem.
Do you want to get right into do you want to get right into the craziness?
The craziness, I think.
Hang on. Do you want to get into the craziness? Because then I'm going to throw the little graphic that says craziness on.
If you want to, Farid Basharat's odds are not good enough. Like I think eventually he can get a title shot, but plus 15,000 is like he's already fighting. He's fighting someone next that he's going to crush probably. That's nowhere. Let me see who he's fighting. That is not going to help him in the rankings. He's fighting Victor Hugo, so that's not really going to do anything.
That's not gonna. Yeah.
So I can't pick him. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Longshots graphic. There you go. All right. So now we're talking. There is, if you're at a particular sports book, and we won't say which one because they're not
paying us.
We have wonderful sports books here that sponsor us, and maybe don't have the odds we're looking for. there are a slew of 250 to 1 long shots here. Perhaps even a little longer in some cases. So draw me up a game plan here. I mean, they've got him up to, man, what is Adrian
Yanez, 100,000.
Yeah, 100,000 fresh off his loss.
Yeah. This division is too stacked and
hey, Nate Manis is in this one too.
Oh, good. Man, he's gonna get a title shot. How about Ayman Zahabi plus 25,000?
You know, that's one of the ones I had been thinking about, is that, like, you know, and I'm not gonna steal yours. I'll let you keep your long shot for you. And
he's a Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian, but also like crazy run. You know,
he's old. He needs to do it now. So
he beat a Basharat, right? Was it Javid?
Yes, furried still undefeated. So
yeah. So he beat Javid, and so, like, that's something. It's not nothing. Javid has got the same odds as him, fresh off a loss against him. Which is kind of funny. Yeah, I think Ayman Zahabi probably makes the most sense in there in terms of, like, super long shots.
He just beat Pedro Munoz, who still for some reason carries a name in the division. I think is he still ranked too, Pedro Munoz? He might be, or he was.
I don't think probably not anymore.
No. So yeah, Ayman, he's ranked. He's got, you know, a semi-famous last name. He seems to be more active now. He's fighting more frequently, and he knocks people out. So, and he's 37. So now is the time, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. That's not a bad one. I'm gonna say of the long shot names on there, and there's a bunch here. All of them with just like something vaguely wrong with them. You know, like, I love Lockdog. He ain't getting a title shot this year. If you're looking for somebody who we could conceivably say, okay, like, maybe this guy could, like, luck his way into, like, a big fight on late notice and catapult himself up the division, I'll stick with 250 to 1 because that's where you played. I'll take Rinya Nakamura.
Yeah.
You know, I again, we're talking Japanese. Crazy long shots here. He's got the bonus of being Japanese, which, as we found, is like, I mean, got Kyle Sakura title shot almost immediately. Not almost immediately, actually immediately. And Kai's undefeated. He's got that piece to him. We've now seen 3 straight wins from him. 5 if you count Road to the UFC. I mean, the best guy on that list is maybe Fernie Garcia, but he's got a fight in January, which kind of helps too. He's fighting Muin Gafurov. I could see him beating Gafurov. Obviously, that doesn't hold too much weight, but who knows? Like, maybe we see then they go over to Japan for a fight card in the middle of the year. He gets a big step up and see that. But I would say, if you are looking to wet your whistle on long shot odds, maybe go back and listen to our flyweight episode, because I actually like our long shot odds quite a bit in our flyweight episode. But this one, it does feel like the top of the division will just eat itself for a little while. And outside of maybe Mario Batista, like, I don't really like any of these people after Piotr Jan.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to be one fight away at this point, and I don't see anyone one fight away, really. No. Like one win away.
Although Merab's fairly active.
But you think he's going to lose? So
I think he's going to win.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes.
You said he was going to lose. Yes. Yeah. Correct. Don't get my thoughts on yours.
Watch me change though. Once we get to that event.
I'll just take his money line at 220 though, rather than will maintain his title for the whole year at 130. Like, that's insane. So
All right. What's not insane is mybookie.ag. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie has been running on SGPN for years. Check out the new and improved website. It's great on mobile. Plus, they got props for every game and the live dealer casino. And they even have new early cash out options available. Check out all the MMA odds there. Head to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money line spreads, totals, and props. Build your model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build you a model. You can now track props in the Rhythm app. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Check out the Al Horford props naturally and claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right. You booked the division like I asked you yesterday. You booked Bantamweight. We already got a title shot.
So I'm just gonna leave this with a. I'm just gonna leave this with a question for you, because we did this last time and we built a little 4-man bracket. Who gets the next title shot? Who's basically the number one contender fight? And flyweight, it seems like it's pretty cut and dry. The names you're gonna hear, right? Like you're gonna hear Rodog, you're gonna hear Moreno, you're gonna hear Cape, maybe gonna hear Kai Car-France, and then you're gonna hear the champ in some sort of combo. The interesting thing to me in this one is we already know the title fight, right? It's already Umar versus Merab. And if we're trying to piece together a number one contender fight, for me, it's cut and dry. You watch Petr Yan fight Sean O'Malley again. It was a fun fight the first time. It was razor close. It was controversial. But my question for you is, does O'Malley take that fight?
Yeah, he squeaked by the first time, but I don't know if that is the case now. Once you lose,
no, but I don't mean that he wins this fight. I mean,
okay. No, I'm sorry. Does he accept the fight
on the dotted line and take this fight?
No.
He feels like he's in.
If he was forced to,
it feels like he's in title shot or bust kind of range.
Yeah. And
I don't think the UFC is about to turn him into Colby Covington 2.0, where he just sits on the shelf and pretends he's going to fight for the title again. And although to be fair, Colby actually did get a title shot again out of all that. But like, I don't know that they'd shelve him, but like, it feels like he's supposed to fight Petr Yan again. And that really strikes me as the number one contender fight. And if not, I mean, like, if Sean O'Malley is unwilling to fight Petr Yan a second time, I think Petr Yan's only real course for action here is either a rematch with Corey Sandhagen, which doesn't really make a lot of sense with Sandhagen coming off that Umar loss, or possibly the aforementioned Mario Batista, which would make his 75-1 prop quite a bit more interesting, because like he's coming off the Aldo win. You could probably headline an Apex card with that. And if you did that, you know, like, then, you know, you could say Petr Yan's fought everybody he possibly can, and maybe that gets him a title shot by the end of the year. But I'm just going to be really interested to see how Sean O'Malley plays his hand here.
Yeah, that's a tough bounce back fighting Petr Yan. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Very, very interesting. Well, I guess that's why
why we talk about MMA.
Yeah, that's why I talk about these things. Happen sometimes in MMA. We're actually going to talk about some fights next few episodes, aren't we, Gumby? We got some fights next week, or within the next week and a half. Octagon 65, Ryzen 49. They're the two we're going to cover, right?
Yeah, great cards.
Yeah, yes. I'm not missing any. There was supposed to be a Bellator on New Year's Eve. Sadly, it got canceled. Gumby, sorry.
I got canceled a long time ago.
Yeah, I know.
Also, it doesn't. By the way, it doesn't look like Bellator exists anymore. They took that Bellator card and it's rebranded PFL now. And there's a Bellator title defense on it, so do with that what you will.
Yeah, Octagon, we got 3. It's their big year-end blowout. We got 3 title fights at the top. Shamrock is fighting on the card as well, so there you go.
He pulled out.
No, he's not. Man, Tapology's got to update.
Dude, you gotta you got your finger on the pulse.
Ryzen 49, of course, that's tradition, a Japanese New Year's Eve fight card. Used to be Fedor. It would be Fedor against sometimes good fighters, mostly
sometimes Hongman Choi.
Sometimes Hongman Choi, sometimes a professional wrestler, then sometimes Big Nog, and they were the good fights. So but they got a title on the line, and it's always a big spectacle, and they fight in the Saitama Superdome, so Super Arena, so that'll be fun. So we'll cover that for you next week, and then of course we've got some more futures, lots more divisions to go. So we'll be hanging out in the Discord regardless. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. On Twitter, SGPN MMA. He's Gumby Vreeland. I'm Jeff Fox, writer. Of course, on YouTube, if you're not watching us already, we are at MMA Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. What else can you do? You can go to my Substack, moneymma.substack.com. The content is still running on there, and once the UFC is back up and running, I'll be doing my weekly UFC Pick'em contest for free. Gummy's got Top Turtle MMA Podcast. Tell the people who is on it.
Will F. Fleury, who is on that aforementioned Octagon card, as well as Cicely Bolander, who is also fighting on that card.
He's fighting for a belt, right?
Yeah, the light heavyweight title. It's going to be a banger.
And Cicely is too, right? She's fighting.
No, she fought Lucy Pudilova for the number one contender spot, and now Pudilova is fighting Sabova for the title. Right. But like she's fighting in a featured bout, which sort of feels like a number one contender fight for her, being as close as she was to fighting Modelo the last time.
Cool. So listen to Top Turtle. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, and sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. No gummy will bid you farewell.
All right, I'm David Gumby Freeland. He's Sugar Jeff Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.